All right, everybody, welcome back to a special edition of Come Get Some. This is the first time we're delving into the music genre here.
Seedy underground.
Yeah,
music,
man. But one of my nearest and dearest favorite things to me is the Dave Matthews Band. And they are releasing a brand new album on June 8th called Come Tomorrow. It's the first time in 6 years they're coming out with an album. It's the longest gap in between studio albums that they've ever had. And we're here to give you a little bit of a preview of the album. Obviously, they already have one single that was put out last week, which was Samurai Cop, Oh Joy Begin. We'll get into all of that stuff, but super excited about this new album. First new material, other than some of the road-tested stuff, which does appear in here. In 6 years, I believe, 2012 was Away from the World. Anticipation is great on this one, my friend.
Away from the world.
Yes.
I was floating in space somewhere.
Yeah, we've all been there, my friend. Anticipation high for this album. What are you expecting out of this?
I don't like him as much as you. Like, I'm a casual fan. I definitely.
Blasphemy.
But that's what makes this fun. I'm actually, I'm a fan. I think he's very talented, and I do know a lot of his songs, but nowhere near like you.
You mean you don't have a tattoo?
No.
No. Well, that's
you're
not a real fan.
Pull down those pants.
Nobody wants to see me.
Oh, it's not.
It's not. No, it's upper body.
Oh.
Upper body. Yes. But nobody wants to see me take off my shirt anyway. But yes, you're not a real fan unless you have the tat, man. No, that's not true at all.
I got a brand, a DMB, right?
Right on your cheek. It's like Mike Tyson. So we're definitely looking forward to this album. So rather than me lead the way this time, since I'm the DMB nut here, the professor here has prepared some questions so that we can kind of get some information.
Lead us straight to hell.
What's out there? Yes, that's where we're going anyway. So maybe we could talk about the album and some of the stuff that I've read, or some of the stuff that I know already, or stuff that's been leaked. So here we go. What do we say?
Here we go. Number one, what can we expect on this album, and what is new versus familiar?
Well, since you asked so nicely, spontaneous as hell, by the way, too. So you're going to get 14, it looks like 14 songs, although the track listing has been announced and the time of the songs has been announced. So one in particular, a song called BKD KD KDD. So I'm imagining that's some kind of like scat.
I thought there was something wrong there for a second.
Yeah, I was just stuttering.
He's stroking out.
It clocks in at 27 seconds, and the last song on the album, 27 whole seconds, which is a far departure from their usual long songs. Yes, and When I'm Weary, which is only 1 minute and 56 seconds. So the BK, I'm imagining is some kind of segue or just some kind of little. They used to do that in some of their older albums, especially before these crowded streets, where in between songs, like there were some hidden tracks at the end of songs that were kind of like 30, 40 seconds, little bits and pieces of songs. But what you can expect from this album? Well, it seems like there's a big mix, kind of like half and half, of songs that they've already been playing for a period of time, or even a short period of time, and some brand new ones. So if we look down the list of the songs, we have Samurai Cop, which obviously debuted a few years ago and has been played in every incarnation, whether it's Dave and Tim, the whole band.
No, why is the song called Samurai Cop? Just so we know.
The song is called Samurai Cop, from what I know, because while they were in the studio recording it and working on it, that's the movie that they had on in the background. Some low budget 80s flick that's supposed to be really terrible, but I think basically it has nothing to do with the song whatsoever.
It's because they weren't naming a baby.
Yeah.
My kid's name is Samurai Cop.
Yeah, man. But the song actually came out like 2 months right after my son Jack was born, and it was it's all about like a baby being born, having kids, and like kind of the first time things happen for them and stuff like that. So Samurai Cop is a great song. I was really looking forward to having a studio version of this, which was also the first single, and to me it sounds amazing. You've listened to it. What did you think?
Actually, I liked it.
Yep.
First time hearing it, fresh. I liked it a lot.
Tiny tweaks to the version that they had been doing, and actually they had done a version during the Super Bowl, the first show that they've done in over a year together, and I didn't like the reworking of it, so I was hoping that the album version wouldn't be that way, and it's not. So I'm very happy to see that. So Samurai Cop is something that's been played for a couple years. Can't Stop has been played probably since like 2006 or 2005, something like that. Kind of just started out as a little bit of a jam that they would do on stage. It evolved into a song that they do sporadically here and there. A lot of times they have guests on it, on horns or whatnot, guitar. But yeah, they recorded a version of it, and it will be on the album. Here On Out is another tune that he did once publicly at a Lincoln Center performance that he was involved in. He did a solo show, but it was with like an orchestra behind him, and he did the song. So that's the only version that's floating around of that. So that's on here. That Girl Is You. That is a brand new song. One that we have not heard yet. That Girl Is You. Doggone Girl Is You. She is the fifth song on the album. That's definitely a new song as well. The Idea of You is probably the most recognizable older song. That's another song from like 2006, I want to say, that they've played, for years now. Obviously, 12 years. It changed a little bit from the beginning, the first couple years that they did it, but nonetheless a great song. Looking forward to having that on the album. Another one that we've heard before, Virginia in the Rain. Another one he debuted a few years ago, and it's more of a slow song. He plays piano on it. So they're debuting that one. That clocks in. Looks like that's the longest song on the album. It's 6:09. Number 8, Again and Again. So people familiar with DMB will recognize this song as Bob Law, which was a song that they've been playing for the last. Well, they played the last tour.
Blah blah blah.
That's why they named it that. Blah blah. So they reworked the name again and again. Really good song, real jazzy kind of funky tune. I like it a lot.
What's jazz?
Well, it's a fusion of funk and.
This is my favorite Transformer. Damn it.
Number 9 is the and that clocks in at 27 seconds. So I'm imagining that's either an outro or an intro or something. Black and Bluebirds, another song we've been hearing since 2015. I want to say. Debuted on the Letterman show that they did. The showcase there before Letterman retired. Come On, Come On is a brand new one. Do You Remember is a song that I really think is really catchy. He's played it a few times solo and with Tim, and I like the song a lot. I think it's got a lot of potential.
That's not another Michael Jackson song.
It is not.
Do you remember the time?
Do you remember? You alright? You joking? Come Tomorrow, the title track for the album, is a new one as well as When I'm Weary, which is the last song on the album, which is also a short one. So I'm imagining maybe that's like a couple albums. The last couple albums he's had Belly Full on there. He's had Baby Blue, which is short, like acoustic song. So maybe that's one of those. Who knows? So like I said, a mix of new stuff and stuff that has been worked on for years. So that's what you're going to get on this album, my friend.
Okay, I got some other questions.
Sure thing, pal.
Now, how long have they been working on this?
Well, this one in particular, it seems like they've been working on it forever. I mean, a lot of these songs, like The Idea of You, Can't Stop, they've been recorded already, but like years ago when working on other albums. So, tentatively, they've probably been working, on the material for this album for like 12 years. Like I said, Can't Stop, Idea of You, songs like that have been around for years, and they've been played, lots of times. So
12 years. I haven't even worked on my marriage.
My daughter's only 11. I mean, geez. So, but yeah, I'd say, they've worked with these producers before, which they have multiple ones of, and we'll get to that. But they've worked with these guys in other settings, so they've kind of come back to work on songs that they never finished the first time around.
Well, according to, now that you brought up, according to my notes,
yes,
there are a gaggle of
yes.
producers. Why?
Well, it seemed like they were working with certain producers at certain times. Rob Cavallo, the guy who did Big Whiskey and the Groove King with them, they had been working on something, and in an interview I just read earlier today, Dave pretty much said that he kind of just got gassed on them and just, dropped it as it was going on. It just got, tiresome and whatnot. So basically seems like, they were working on different things at different times with different people, and the story goes that Dave pretty much just said, look, let's get the material that I've done with him, and let's get together and let's make one thing and see what we've got. That's pretty much what they did.
It's like a goulash soup.
Yeah, so they're working with Mark Batson, who did Stand Up with them, probably my least favorite album that they've done. Some good songs on there, but just, it's just my least favorite. There's got to be one, right?
Mm.
Rob Cavallo, who did Big Whiskey and the Groove King. John, I don't know if I'm going to mess up his name. John Alagia. He did their first album, which was Remember Two Things, which was their first EP that they put out on their own. So, it's a smorgasbord of producers, but it should be interesting to see how it sounds for sure.
Is Boyd on this album?
So here's the thing. I have not heard one way or another whether he is or not. Samurai Cop does not sound like it has him on it. Now, he wasn't really prominently featured in that song for the most part anyway, but... doesn't look like he's going to be back anytime soon. Doesn't look like anybody's kind of saying, hey, listen, he's got to go take care of himself, but he'll be back stronger than ever. It just seems like, hey, man, he's got to go do what he's got to do, and we've got to move on. I have not heard that he is or isn't, but I'd imagine if some of these recordings are a little older, at some point on the album, he's got to be on there. He just started. I mean, they didn't do this album from February until now, which is when he... announced his hiatus, so I would think that he's got to be on there somewhere. Even Leroy Moore, who passed away, years ago, is on the album because he started recording the idea of you and Can't Stop. That's it. He's playing from the grave. But he was also on Big Whiskey and the Groove King in 2009, and so there's going to be some Leroy on there. So as far as Boyd, I'm really not sure what to expect. Whether he's on it or not, I'm not sure.
Well, I heard that Dave had an interesting interview from Vulture,
yeah.
Vulture.com.
Yeah, that's what I was...
It's not about birds?
Yeah. No, it wasn't about birds. It was...
Carcasses.
The interview was pretty good. I don't remember the name of the fellow who conducted the interview, but the questions were pretty good. And a lot of them had not a lot to do with music, just about him and himself and his... his self-doubt as to why he's so famous. Almost like he doesn't really feel like he deserves the fame and whatnot. He's very humble. He's a very quiet guy.
We'll take some off his hands.
I'd be happy to help him for sure. But he does a lot of charitable stuff and works for good causes. So, he's definitely involved. But a lot of it was about the album, talking about how, some people would get in his ear with other albums and they didn't turn out the way that he would like them to. He says he doesn't know if this one's great or not, but he had his way when it came to saying so. Yeah, but buy it, right. They're not much of pushers and stuff like that, but it was kind of just like this. You'd almost like hear this love-hate relationship between him and himself. Like where he's a different person when he's on stage, and he loves doing it, but it's just not really him. He'd prefer to be a little more low-key. He's been enjoying working on other projects, even if it's music that aren't so like mainstream or. They're different kinds of things. And
that's something kind of cool about him that I've always liked, that he does seem low-key and not like, he's not up in your face and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the guy drives a Subaru. He's, lives in Seattle. From all accounts, I mean, he lives a pretty, as normal a life as a gazillionaire can, but he does a lot of good for the community and for humanity in general. So
just a regular guy as he straps around his rocket pack.
Yeah, he's tipping $100 to the cab driver and the Uber guy. No, but he's definitely one of the coolest dudes you'll ever encounter for sure. But yeah, I mean, he said a lot of stuff in the interview. It looked like he wishes Boyd the best, but it didn't sound like he was going to be coming back anytime soon, and. It also didn't sound like this was going to be a thing that they're going to be doing forever. Obviously, I mean, nothing lasts forever. But I didn't get the impression that he's still enjoying life on the road all the time. It kind of just sounded like, listen, this is my obligation. I love doing it, but I don't know. It was weird. I would definitely recommend people going out and reading it. It was Vulture.com, so check that out if you can, man.
Cool. This is probably the most important question I'd say right now. How much you bench? I've always wanted to ask you.
Listen, I'm not even sure, man, because it's probably been about 15, 20 years since I've benched anything other than my ass. So
on the sidelines.
Yeah, man.
Okay, what should we expect from the tour? That begins, next week?
Yeah, Friday or Saturday already, the 18th in Texas. What can we expect? Well, no Boyd. It doesn't sound like there's going to be a violin. There was a lot of speculation, like will they have any guests? Will they have anybody coming in and touring with them? And we did learn that somebody will be, but it's not a violin player. They're getting a new keyboard player. His name is, oh God, jeez. Was it Bud? Oh God, jeez.
Oh God, jeez.
Oh, it's not Buddy Murphy. It's Buddy something or another. I can't remember the guy's
when
name.
Your first name is Buddy. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, jeez, I can't remember. But he was with Usher. He was with Ariana Grande. Looks like he's real pumped to do it. It was just I've never heard of the guy. Buddy Rot? No, jeez, that's a wrestler. I don't remember the guy's name. I can't think of it.
Buddies.
Bosom Buddies. Yes. Nature Boy Buddy Landell. The name escapes me, but either way, he's going to be a new member of the band. What to expect? I mean, I'm not so sure. I mean, we got that Super Bowl show, and they played songs that you wouldn't think they'd play without Boyd, like Jimmy Thing or a few others, Ants Marching, which is really tough, and they sounded different. I just hope that as great as Tim Reynolds is, and as much as I love him and him being with them, I just hope it's not every time there was a Boyd solo, he's just going to fill it in with electric. There's enough electric so far already, but I don't know what to expect. I would expect them to go out and for the first leg of the tour before their album comes out for the first couple weeks, I would think they're going to play some of them. They'll play Samurai Cop, and they'll play a couple of the more familiar ones like Again and Again, maybe Virginia in the Rain, Idea of You, Black and Bluebird. But I think they'll save the rest for once the album comes out, because otherwise you don't want to give too much away before it comes out.
Yeah.
And we already know half the album, so don't play the new stuff yet. But I expect them to play a mix of, same thing they've been doing for the last couple years. They've got some core songs that they play every couple nights here and there, and then, sprinkle in one or two different ones here and there, and then as the tour goes on, their set evolves. So you never really know what you're going to get with them. But usually they start off hot. We'll see by Saturday or Friday what the set looks like. I expect them to go out and tear it up. I mean, you don't know how much longer they're going to last. This is the second guy that's already dropped out of the band.
It's just going to be Dave Matthews.
Yeah, eventually. And you know what? People will still go see him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I went to a show in Connecticut last year where it was Boyd and his side band, Crystal Garden. It was like 15, 20 people in there for the most part for most of the show. And then it was like 30, 40 by the time it ended. Got to meet him after the show, though, and say hello to him. And then the guy leaves, Leroy obviously passed away, so you don't want it to become a shell of what it was. But at the same time, most of the guys in the band are replaceable except for Carter and Dave. Carter's the best drummer on the planet. Dave is, to me, the best front man because obviously I'm biased. But not that Fonzie is not replaced. I mean, all these guys are Fonzie. Yes, hey. It's not that they're replaceable. It's just you can't have the band without Dave. You can't have the band without Carter for sure.
It would just be band without Dave.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna, you wouldn't think maybe they could do it without Boyd, but we'll see quickly if that happens or not.
All right, let's do our top 3 favorite. This is probably gonna be cooler for you because you probably know these cool obscure songs, but I just know like the bandwagon songs and the big.
Well, you know what it is. If you're a Dave fan, none of the songs are obscure. They're all on the same level. In fact, when you like the songs that you're probably gonna. Yeah, I am. When you name the songs that I would imagine if your 3 are probably going to be 3 that people would be like they're not even in the realm because the hardcore fans they love the songs that have been on the radio or the video or videos, but or the video, but those are songs that like those they're not even in like the top 10 of most people's that love the band. And that's the thing about the band is that they change up their set every night for the most part. More recently it hasn't been as diverse, but still very diverse. You go to 2 nights in a row, you're not going to see anything other than maybe new songs. You're not going to see anything that's the same, but
that's kind of cool.
But you're going to see the same 2 sets that they've been playing in different places. So it's still the greatest night in the world. But either way, what are your top 3?
Should we go down by 3? Like start at 3.
Go ahead. I don't have an order for mine.
What? Then let me throw this out.
Well, I just can tell you what my. I mean, geez, go ahead. I got to think because.
3 for me is every day, just because I like that song.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah, Day.
Every day.
Day.
Every day.
Every day's a good song. Do you know the origin of that song?
No.
The origin of that song comes from a song called Number 36 that they played for years and years. It was one of their older songs, and it kind of evolved into Every Day. And then when they play it live, they do a little mix of 36 and at the end of the world. Anyway. I mean, right off the bat, obviously, it's not going to be popular with hardcore fans, but I've always loved the song, and the violin solo in this song, especially live, is one of the best musical things you could possibly see, and that's Tripping Billies. That might be a song that you actually know.
I've heard of it.
But it's
from you.
Yes. It's a great song, and it's always a crowd pleaser. I always love seeing it live. Boyd, well, now it's going to be different, but Boyd always tore it up. Especially, I remember being at Woodstock '99, and that version in particular is my favorite. I've watched it 1,000 times, and his solo in that is just ridiculous. So go out on YouTube that if you haven't seen that.
Now Boyd he's known for playing the Casio, right?
The Casio. He played the recorder too. Boyd was the man. So all right, what's your number two song?
Number two, everybody's gonna know this. Crash.
Crash, huh?
Is that what it's called? I'm pretty sure.
Crash Into Me, yes.
Yeah,
that was the
like
first Dave song that, I actually, back in the day, I actually hated them.
Oh.
Ants Marching, I didn't really care for.
Oh, I like that one.
Crash Into Me was the first radio song that was kind of played a lot in New York, especially where I'm from, and so that actually made me buy the album Crash. So that was the first album I ever had. And I still didn't really like them all that much afterwards until I went to see them live for the first time. That was the first time I really
listened to it angrily.
It was my friend. I remember going to a dinner with my friend. He was playing Under the Table and Dreaming, their first studio album. And Typical Situation came on. I'm like, this is the worst song I've ever heard. Now I love it. I mean, now it's one of my favorites. But my number two. I mean, I'm gonna go
number two. What is number two?
Deuce. I mean, it's such a hard thing, but I'm gonna say. I'm going to go with The Last Stop. The Last Stop is another epic tune from their third album, Before These Crowded Streets. It's not played a whole lot live, but in fact, in all the shows I've seen, over 70 shows, I've only seen it once.
70? I don't even think I've heard his song 70 times.
Oh, man, that's 70. It's weird because as I've gotten older and married and divorced and then, in another relationship and 4 kids later, 70 is crazy considering the fact that I hardly, go to the shows. I mean, if I get to go to 2 a year, 3 a year, I used to go to 6 or 7 a tour. Wow. Travel to do it. So, it's slowed down with age and kids and stuff like that. But
Asian kids?
It's slowed down.
Asian kids. Well,
with all my Asian kids, yes.
I'm half Asian. Maybe some of them are mine.
Hey, easy, pal. Easy, pal.
Yeah.
So, what's your number one tune?
Thank you. Number one, Satellite. That's from Under the Table.
It is from Under the Table.
That was
one of their first singles.
First Dave Matthews song I think I ever heard, and I was like, this guy's pretty talented.
Yeah, their first album has a bunch of songs people know. What Would You Say?
I don't know. What
See?
Yes.
Ants Marching, Satellite. Yeah. There's a good amount of songs on there. I mean, number one has got to be another song from Before These Crowded Streets, which is my favorite album. A song called Pig. Yeah, I know you laugh, but to me it's like the perfect song. The music is awesome. The lyrics are second to none. And the delivery is ridiculous. It's just the total package of the song. It smells fantastic. It tastes wonderful. No, Pig is definitely, to me, is a masterpiece of a song. It's my favorite song. Those three together, I don't really have one favorite. I wouldn't say Pig is my favorite. I wouldn't say Trippin' Billies is my favorite or Last Stop. But there's also some honorable mentions. A song called So Right from the Everyday album. It's a newer song. It's not one of the old school ones, but I love it. It's not new, but 17 years old, but I love it. So Right. So many good songs, man. There's too many to name. And yeah.
So yeah, well, I've got one last one here.
Sure thing.
What is your favorite DMB album?
Before These Crowded Streets. I love the first two. I mean, first two regular ones, Crash and Under the Table. But Before These Crowded Streets, top to bottom, has the mix of everything. It's got the dark, it's got the light, it's got the in-between.
Like my skin.
It's a great mix of classic songs. It's just, to me, that's the best album that they've done as a whole, for sure. And hopefully this new one has some good stuff on it. Like I said, we know half of them. The ones that we don't, we'll see. We'll hear what the ones we do know sound like in a studio setting. So very excited to see what this comes. I already pre-ordered it, which means I get my bonus CD of live stuff. So looking forward to getting it, man. Just can't wait.
Cool.
Can't wait. I've been listening to Samurai Cop over and over again. I love it.
I love it.
Love it, man. Any questions for the doctor before we head out of here?
How tall is Dave Matthews? Because he appears very tall.
You want to know? It's funny, man. He's not like a small dude. Like he's not as small as he seems.
No, he's probably tall.
Here's a funny thing. My buddies, some of the guys I go to the shows with, they have a connection with with the band's management in some way. So one thing, they've met Dave a few times, and they've taken pictures with him. And there's one picture in particular. Now, this is not a family of small people. Like my two buddies are big, broad dudes, especially one of them, and they're standing next to Dave, and it's like Dave's head is like triple the size of theirs. It's just like he's not much taller than them, but it's just like almost like his body is supernaturally bigger than theirs. It's weird. He just looks like a bigger human being than them, and they're not small people,
It's
so
like
it's
he
funny.
Went back in time and ate young Dave Matthews.
Oh, jeez! But Boyd wasn't a huge guy either. But I mean, he's just kind of lanky and but built like a brick house.
He's about as tall as a violin.
But We've seen a couple of guys. I've never personally met Dave, but I've met Boyd, met Rashawn. Rashawn was a big dude. He's lost some weight, but he's still a big dude. But anyway, yes.
Now I'm intimidated.
Enough about that.
I'm intimidated now.
Yes. Looking forward to seeing him a couple times this summer. Jones Beach, Hartford, hopefully PNC. We'll see. My buddy's going next week, this weekend coming up, I should say, in Dallas. So he'll give me the rundown there. Anything else, Mr. Professor?
I got the scissors, Ma.
All right.
Oh,
very
that's
good.
Where they were.
Hide my beard.
Had them.
Is that where my hair went? Jesus Christ. Well, that's all we got, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed the album. Let us know what you think about it. Let us know what you think about Samurai Cop. Let us know if you think I'm a douche. Nothing I said was right today, which is pretty much usually the case, right?
Yes.
But until then, thank you for watching Come Get Some. Enjoy Come Tomorrow, and oh, joy begin.